Welcome to Epiphany number 10. Most marketing is BS. So what we're talking about here is what I would call passive marketing, which I think most marketing is, and we're defining that separately, at least in the context of today's video, separately from prospecting. And prospecting is active person-to-person prospecting. And marketing, again, in today's context, we're talking about almost like advertising, a passive way of attracting clients. And in the financial services business, in my opinion, it doesn't work. At best, it just doesn't work and is a little bit of waste of your time and, obviously some money. And at worst, it could be a lot of money over time, but at worst, what it does is it creates avoidance behavior in most advisors. So this, by the way, is Epiphany number 10, if I didn't already mention that, so you can go check it out. I got some more data there, but just a few things I want to cover in this video. So look, everybody wants to do, every advisor, and frankly, probably every salesperson that's ever been on the planet wants to have some kind of passive marketing whereby you can get your message out to the world, and what better than the internet? And then the ones that are interested contact you. Of course, we all want that. And it doesn't work, especially not in our industry. If it worked, you would be seeing those as a consumer. You'd be seeing that all the time. And you'd be running into prospects yourself that say, oh, no, I already signed up because I saw a great ad or a great 30-second clip on Instagram, or because I got a great email from a stranger a couple of weeks back. You understand? In other words, you being in the business would have already sensed all that. It doesn't work, right? There's good news in that. Because that doesn't work, it means that the stuff that does work works even better because very few people are actually doing it, which we'll get to. So again, passive marketing, we're talking about, for the most part today in this era, we're talking about internet, but it's not just internet. When I go way back and think, when I started this business, I put flyers on car doors or car windows, in big parking lots. This is no joke. I go and look in a local newspaper and find out when there was some kind of seminar going on, nothing to do with financial services, just a seminar or meeting or gathering. I wouldn't go to a church but like a meeting or gathering, like at the hotel, right? And I'd go in the parking lot during that time. I'd wait till maybe an hour after it started, and I already have the flyers, and I'd go to the printer and get them printed up and all that, and just pass them out on car windows. Doesn't work, right? Leaving business cards on bulletin boards, going door to door, which, by the way, is the only one that even works a little bit. It actually works better than Marketing Pro, or any kind of internet marketing. If you're going to do some kind of mass marketing, the best of the bunch is door to door. And why? Because it really turns into face to face when they answer. And then you got to go from there. It's tough, but Edward Jones still does it. But nobody wants to do that, right? What you want to do is you want to send out a mass email, or, like back in the day, put an ad in the yellow pages, or also back in the day, which I've done many times, is buy leads and then send out a physical through snail mail, send out physical postcards. That crap doesn't work, especially not in our business and not in the financial business. When you're talking about potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars that somebody wants to invest, they're not going to respond to an online ad or posting articles on Twitter. Okay, it's not going to work, just like you wouldn't do. It's the old rule, right? What would I do? Which is one of our epiphanies. What would you do? Would you do that? No. If you're looking for a financial advisor, but you don't know one directly, and now you need one, and you're aware that you need one, what would you do? I would wager most of you, what you would do is you would ask a friend, a buddy, a neighbor, a coworker, your bowling league friend, someone you trust, maybe someone that had mentioned a while back that, hey, we set up a college plan for the kids, or we had a guy over the other night, and this funny thing happened. And, oh, the guy he actually helped us with our 401k. The point is, it'd be someone that you know, and then either they actively ask for an introduction, right? Because maybe their advisor did what he was supposed to do, Or you ask because you remember something vaguely and say, hey, listen, didn't you tell me like 9 months ago you set up some kind of college plan for your kid, and do you think that guy can help me because I'm leaving my job, or I just got inheritance from my aunt, whatever. That's what you would do if you didn't already know someone. So either you already know someone, or you have someone in mind, or you're going to ask around. What you're not going to do is go on Twitter and go, oh yeah, I see all these cool articles this guy's posting. It's not going to, no one does it. I would wager, as of this video, that no one who's ever done Marketing Pro generated a client. Okay? The closest I've seen, and I'll shout out to John McCarthy, he's got a training on LinkedIn. He's done LinkedIn, but you know what he does? Is he makes a personal contact. He finds someone, I'm not going to go through the whole training, but he finds a individual, some kind of connection, right? And a reason to contact, and sends them an individualized message, which is kind of like picking up the phone and making a cold call. But marketing doesn't work, okay? The worst part of it, and this is the reason why I think the video that I want to do this video, isn't the $50 a month or whatever it costs you, right? I'm not picking on Marketing Pro. I am picking on them only because that's what we have at ParsonX. But this concept goes to everything. Right? Again, flyers on car windows, door to door, buying leads and mailing out mailers, which people still do. Okay, sending out same thing, buying leads and sending out mass emails. Phone cold calls actually used to work better. Because again, guess what? You have to actually talk to the person, and now you have an interaction. Now it becomes human. But don't do that either. The problem with it is that what happens is that it gives an advisor an excuse to avoid doing what they need to do, but simultaneously lets them off the hook psychologically because they tell themselves, well, at least I'm getting my name out there, like I'm doing something. No, the old expression, the enemy of the great is the good. It's like, people that, I worked out today, so now I can have my pizza. It doesn't work like that. Okay. You have to do both. Okay. Well, I'm not really working out, but at least I walked across the street to the post office. It's useless. That walk, I'm glad you walked, but that walking isn't going to do 1/10 to 1% of iota to your getting fit. It's better than driving, taking your car across the street, I guess. But the problem with that thinking is now it lets you off the hook from actually working out. And that's what this is. That's the problem. If you're doing both, side note, we have advisors that do that in ParsonX on our team. If you're a heavy prospector and you built a client base, you get referrals coming in, you want to do a Marketing Pro type thing or buy leads and do something else and test it, I'm not even talking to you. You've already proven yourself, all the power to you. But that's very, very, very rare that people do that. Okay? Most people don't. So the problem is that what happens is by doing that, by again, I'm picking on Marketing Pro, but I'm not talking about just Marketing Pro, is you're avoiding what you really need to do and simultaneously patting yourself on the back like, The other thing I will speak now specifically, just for a moment, about Marketing Pro, there is a specific problem, which is that I don't think a lot of advisors that do Marketing Pro really pay attention to what you're posting. Do you see your own posts? Because I follow most everyone in ParsonX on all the platforms I can find you on. And so I see what people are with Marketing Pro and a few other things, what they're doing. And I'm thinking, you can't possibly be seeing all the articles because some of those articles are not at all in line with our philosophy. At all. And even if they're in line with it, just talking about like commentary about the market, you're sending the wrong message, right? You're sending the message that watching the market is important, regardless, I should say, of the accuracy of the commentary. It may be very accurate. It's the fact that that's not important, right? You don't want to focus your client on it. But I'm not going to get into all that detail. It's a whole different thing. Whether you're using Marketing Pro and having them randomly pick something, even out of select categories, or whether you are actively doing it, it doesn't work. Here's a secret. So what should you do? What you need to do, and what I need to do, of course, I'm on the recruiting side, but what we all need to do, at least in the beginning, some people, we have a few advisors that already built their book of business and now it's referrals. I'm not talking to you. What you need to do is prospect 1, 2, 4 people every single day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year. So you get 2 weeks off and you get 2 days a week off. Other than that, it's 1 to 4. Not 2 today and then 0 for 3 days, and then tell yourself you're going to make it up next Wednesday, because you're not. That's what you need to do. And if you do that and get to 1,000 prospects, which is what Nick Murray had told us, and what Patty had reminded us of. Shout out to Patty for that. She's on track to do that. That's the secret. You want a short answer? 1,000 prospects, face to face. You do your own pace. You want to do one a week? It's going to take you a while. Take you 20 years, by the way. But be my guest. But the Marketing Pro and the flyers in the mail and the mass emails, none of that's going to work. I actually think it does harm. At least some of the prospecting, like I said, I'm not going to get into that. I mean, not prospecting, the online marketing, because I think some of it, unless it's your own content or vetted by you, like you guys see my stuff from American Funds. I vet that. I send maybe a third or reshare a third of that, because I don't want to talk about bonds. And if it's too much about market, what's happening in a market, sometimes I do a little bit, but it better be long-term, because I don't want to send the wrong message. So anyway, back to what you need to do, and I know you know this, is 1 to 4, right? A day. And really it's the coffee script. And then the second kind of part B to that is getting introductions. And once you have a big enough business that you're getting enough and frequent enough introductions from your existing clients, and sometimes shockingly, it's from people that aren't your clients. That happens once you've been around long enough. Once you have that on automatic pilot, like Steve Smith, Steve Gonzalez, I'll point them out because they've done that. Maybe there's a few others that have some of that going on. I think maybe John McCarthy. Great, then you don't have to do 1 to 4 by any means. You're way past that. But until you're up in that league, and maybe some of you already have that too, I don't want to leave out names. But until that's what you have to do, everything else is a waste of time, waste of money. But most importantly, I think it's a distraction. Now, what is it good for? Because there is. Okay, so not all, but some of the online, the marketing, the emails. I'm going to bring into this conversation the monthly email newsletter for clients, because it's the same thing. So the same purpose and benefit of doing the monthly emails to your client emails applies to some of the online marketing, but I don't call it marketing anymore. So whether you're resharing American Funds, you're posting something from Nick Murray, compliance approved, or any other source that's compliance approved, or you've got your own stuff that you're posting, it's been approved. If there's probably a few pieces in Marketing Pro that are, but there's only a few, it wouldn't, but let's say you are, okay? The purpose is the same as the newsletter, which has nothing to do with prospecting and thus marketing. And that is twofold. It is to remind and almost re-educate or continue to educate your existing clients and followers to keep their head straight about the market, your philosophies. That's why I like memes and little sayings and aphorisms. I always tell you guys, write those down, put them in your journal. When you're watching a training, a Monday training class or something, always be on the lookout for that turn of phrase and expression, because that stuff is worth its gold, because especially online, people are scrolling through. They don't got time to read it. First of all, you post an article from like Marketing Pro, you think anybody's reading that article. They're reading the heading. Maybe just like you do. It's like 1 in 100 articles you might actually click and read the whole thing. You might click, read the first paragraph or read the summary, then you move on. It's got to be really interesting. And unless you're in the financial services business yourself, you think your clients are reading those articles? They don't read the newsletters you send them. We'll get to that. Okay, what the key is, though, that's why memes and headings are important. And newspapers figured that out 200 years ago. They work so hard at the headline. That's the way you got to think about it. It's the headlines, right? So you want to send, that's why you see a lot of my stuff when I post it in the community. It's not my stuff. It's stuff that I pick somewhere else, because I want to try to get that idea concise. But the purpose of the idea, it's not to attract clients. No one's going to buy into that. No, guys, I'm on internet and all that stuff more than all of you combined. My entire life is digitized, right? For good or bad, right? Not that I'm proud of that. But I can tell you, I've never gotten a client from that stuff. And I tried everything. Because I always thought to myself, well, yeah, I guess it makes sense because I wouldn't do it, right? So what it does do, number one, is it re-emphasizes, maybe that's a better word, and reminds your existing clients who are hopefully are following you, right? And possibly some prospects that are not clients yet, but are following you. Maybe they're following you. Maybe they're friends and are following you first already. They're not clients yet. It reminds them of what you're doing. So in a weird way, you could say it's a little bit of prospecting for those that aren't clients yet. But the point is you've already created a relationship. You're not going to generate new followers, and strangers will all of a sudden call you or email you and say, I saw your Facebook article you posted about 529 plans. I want one. It's not going to happen. They just maybe might perk, oh yeah, we got to set one up for Johnny. Geez, he was born 9 months ago. Then they're going to go to their friend and say, hey, don't you have a buddy that does some kind of college plans? That's what'll happen. You're prospecting for somebody else. Okay. So again, it's for reminding, reintroduce, or re-emphasizing, strengthening the message, right? Especially during certain times. For existing contacts. Number 2, it reminds them that you're here. That's the second benefit. Same for the newsletter. It reminds them that you're around. Because some of your clients are not your best friends, and maybe they're a referral from a referral, and they kind of, you close business, they kind of forget about you. And that's what the newsletter and some of this online marketing, if they're following you, they remember, oh, that's right. What am I thinking? 529 plan for little Johnny. I've already got a financial advisor set up a Roth IRA for me 2 years ago. That stuff happens. They almost like forget, wait, I've already got one. It's like someone that moves from their apartment to their home and now they got to get homeowners insurance. All of a sudden it dawns on them, wait a minute, I can just go to my car insurance guy. But at first thought, when they think of that, they think they got to look for a home insurance agent. It's like that. Because once you've been in the business for a while, you're going to get clients that are kind of, 2, 3, 4 generations removed from you. So you want to remind them that, dude, I'm in the business and I do things called variable annuities. I do 529 plans. I do term insurance. I do living trusts. I do 401k rollovers, not just Roth IRAs, right? So that's the second reason. So it's re-emphasizing the message and kind of letting them know that you're here, you're around, you're in the business. And those two are frankly just about the only real reasons why you do either or why you do both. Some online kind of, financial services stuff, and why you do the monthly newsletters, email newsletters to your clients. Guys, I love Nick Murray. I love my Nick Murray newsletters and the client part of it. And I can tell you right now, with all my confidence, I guarantee you less than 10 out of 100 of my contacts actually read it. But you know what? They read the heading. That's why I put the title of the newsletter in the subject line. They might, maybe 30%, if I'm lucky, open it up. Maybe 50% open it. Right? I know advisors talk about, well, I've got metrics to check it, they open it. Yeah, but if they archive it or they mark it unread in their Gmail, it's going to flag as it opened, even though they never opened it, as a side note. So if you think a lot of them are opening it, maybe they do. Maybe you're different, but I think it's a lot less than you think. But they might open it. Sometimes when they see the attachment, that there's an attachment to that email that kind of compels them to at least open it and see what it is. That's why in my emails I put simple things, little memes, simple stuff. I'd love to read, but you know what? They read the simple memes. They might read 1 or 2 little bullet points if it's 1 or 2 lines. As soon as it becomes a paragraph, they stop reading. And I know that. So I spend time, I condense it, put a little bolding in there, and I'll link for the few that are into it. I'll link them to a podcast. I'll link them to, all public stuff. I'll link them to some article, maybe a YouTube video, knowing they won't. But what it does do, what I know more than anything, is it reminds them that I'm here, I'm in the game, I'm thinking about you. And I know that they know it's a mass email. They know that, just like I know when I get an email from my car insurance guy, which I do, I know it's not just to me. And if my name is in the greetings, Michael, I know it's generated automatically. It doesn't give him any more pats on the back or gold stars than the accountant that sends it to me without my name in it, because I know they're both generated. I mean, I'm not stupid, right? And your clients know that too. So don't get overly about customizing it. Anyway, so when you understand that that's the purpose, then everything else becomes clear when it comes to marketing. Okay, when you understand what it's a tool. What's the tool for? The tool is not to prospect. If you send out your email newsletters, will occasionally a client say, I got someone? Believe it or not, it happened to me within the last week or 2 weeks of this video. It happened. but it probably hasn't happened to me since before the 2 weeks, maybe a year. And he probably would have contacted me anyway as an existing client, but he instead he replies to the email. So I'm under no illusion. So if you understand the purpose of the email and the purpose of the marketing is really more for people that are already in your clan, they're already in your client base, at least in your prospecting list, then your marketing itself will change and your expectations will change. And here's the kicker. Now you're under no illusion within your own psyche that you're doing any kind of prospecting. And that's what this long-ass video, pardon my French, is really all about as I get to this point. When you understand that the marketing, as we're calling it marketing, is really not about marketing. It's about keeping in touch electronically and gently sending pieces of your philosophy to those people, right? Because you can't email them every day, but you could post something every day. Not that you should do it every day. And then that frees up your psyche to say, okay, I haven't prospected at all since Easter. Let me go talk to some people. That's where we need to get to. But I believe strongly that most people that are doing online marketing like that think of it as online marketing, and they convince themselves they're prospecting and all that stuff. There's some. Again, I don't want to pick on Marketing Pro too much. It's just one that we use. But whether you're buying leads, whether you're doing Dave Ramsey, whether you're anything, the further away you go. Okay, let me say it this way: the easier it is to do, the less it works. That's a pretty good rule of thumb. Pretty good rule of thumb. The easier it is to do, emotionally easier. When I say easier, I'm referring to emotionally, psychologically easier. I'm not saying the physical work side. Well, my gosh, creating a flyer and going down to the print shop and printing 1,000 copies and walking around and putting it on, that's pretty hard work. Yeah, but that's not what I mean. I'm talking about psychologically easier. That's why people have so much avoidance. They get the Series 65, the Series 7, the Series 73. They get the CFP, CHP. Nothing. Some people do that. And again, like I said earlier, we have people that are very successful that have all those things. Like I'll point them out. Steve Smith. Steve Smith has almost all that. But you know what? Steve Smith made almost $100,000 or very close to it part-time before he did any of that. So I'm not talking about those people. Other people have it too in Parsonex and elsewhere. It's when the guy that's got like 3 clients or 30 clients or even 100 clients wants to do all these other things. Those are forms of avoidance behavior. And that's what you want to stay away from. Okay? Hopefully that helps. I know it's a rant, but listen, do what you want to do. In fact, I actually simultaneously, in closing, I'll say this. As a manager, I've even told other managers this, and I got to tell myself, and I'll say it to you guys here publicly in this video, is I also support, if you will, you to do your own thing. Sometimes I've had advisors, they're still with us now, that in the beginning, I tried to hey, this doesn't work, don't do that. That doesn't work, don't do that. Do this, it does work. And then I've found out later that they almost resent me because I kept them from doing something that they, in their heart of hearts, felt that it would work. And the only way to get that out of their system is to not preach too much one-on-one and just let them do it. And then they'll figure it out on their own. Or they hear it from someone else completely unrelated to us because you can't be a prophet in your own land. That's the other way. Those are the 2 ways you can only do it, right? Ironically, they think when you override them, I don't know why they do. It's just not, I don't think it's them. I think I do it too, I guess. But it's when someone overrides you, it's like a parent. Your parent, your parents love you, and if they really actually do have your best interest at heart, and yet we almost at some point in our life become tone deaf to them. But we'll listen to a stranger on YouTube and take it gospel, but they don't give a crap. And it's the same thing in our business. So what I've done over the years, that's one of the reasons I came up with these epiphanies, is I do them on video. I do them in a general sense, like this, instead of pulling someone aside and saying, look, I don't think that's going to work. Not that I don't tell people individually, hey, I don't think you should, waste a lot of time on doing generic, cold internet marketing. I do that all the time. I mean, more like getting into it like I am with you in this video. I do it generally, unless someone asks, and most people never ask. So That's what that kind of the reason I do the video is what's all about. So, but at the same time, what I'm saying is, go ahead and try it. Try, as long as it's legal and compliant, and it's ethical, which none of these things are not ethical. I encourage you, do as much as you want, but, and I mean but, also do what works. 1 to 4 prospects every day, 5 days a week. You can take 2 days off a week and take 2 weeks off a year. So really, ideally, you do 4 new prospecting attempts a day for 5 days, 50 weeks a year. You had 1,000 prospects. And by the way, those 2 things I've always said 1 to 4, and I was about watching my team's numbers. I'm a genius. I track everything and have for years. I came up with that. And then separately, Nick Murray says to make 1,000 contacts your first year. Guess what? Those 2 match exactly. I'm not Nick Murray. I'm not even close to Nick Murray. And I'm not trying to say that I am by giving you that, but there is something there about, wow, it's not just stuff we're pulling out of the air. There's something to it. So that's what you need to do. And while you're doing that, build a referral-based business. And as your incoming referrals or introductions start to happen, then you can reduce the prospecting. And then if you want to do other crap on the side, just for kicks, because I'll tell you this, the guy and gal that's out there that's talking 1 to 4 doesn't even have time to spend an hour and a half putting together your marketing profile and tracking it or whatever. Again, it's not about marketing pro or going and generating flyers or buying leads and getting email lists, putting them together. You don't even have time for that. Go do the work that actually matters. But again, if you want to try it, feel free and try it. That's it. Take care.